This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
Now, since last night, with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury both weighing in much heavier than what they previously have, a lot of people are having conflicted thoughts as to how this fight may well go compared to what they did before the weigh-in. Okay, now I want to break down certain elements of what this extra weight could mean for either fighter. Now, first of all, if you're a Tyson Fury fan and you want Tyson Fury to win, make sure you are subscribing to this channel right now. Click that subscribe button, turn it from red to grey, because if you do not and you want Tyson Fury to win and he ends up losing, look at yourself in the mirror. It's your fault. So let's send him all the luck that we possibly can. Everybody else who is subscribed, big up to you. Now, the extra poundage that both these guys have put on. Now, Deontay Wilder coming in at 231, or at least weighing 231. Tyson Fury weighing 273. Now, there's a multitude of ways of looking at this one. Now, first of all, let's get out the obvious that some people may not have already thought of, okay? Whereas with Tyson Fury, for example, okay, he left his top on. So we don't know if that extra poundage is due to fat or is it muscle definition. We don't know, and we won't know until we see him take off his top tonight in the ring. We ain't gonna know. So if we're seeing some flesh hanging over his shorts like in the first fight and his skin is still a bit saggy, then we're gonna know that training camp didn't go very well. Maybe he's put on those extra pounds because maybe some of the rumors were true about him hurting his leg or his foot and things like that. So maybe he wasn't doing the road work. Now, the extra 15, 16 pound or whatever it is that Tyson Fury's put on since he last fought Deontay Wilder. Now, if you look at that, say 15, 16 pound, and if you was to put that much, and listen, I know it's a little bit gruesome, but there's no other way that I can really think about explaining it, but 15, 16 pounds worth of fatty flesh on the table or 15, 16 pounds worth of muscle flesh on the table, the pile is going to look so much less, even though it weighs exactly the same. So if he's put on muscle, that's a good thing, in my opinion. If he's put on fat, not so much. Now, Tyson Fury, I don't expect him to rip his top off and have a six-pack. If he does, I'll be very, very surprised. But he doesn't need to be, okay? He's a far superior boxer to Deontay Wilder. But here's a couple of ways of looking at it. Now, with Deontay Wilder coming in at 231, or at least weighing 231, quite what he's going to come in tonight, I have no idea. But the extra 15 to 20 pound that he's put on, that I believe could hurt Deontay Wilder. Because if you look at him, the last time that he really weighed that kind of weight was when he fought the likes of, say, Arthur Spilker. That's one way of looking at it with Arthur Spilker. The knockout was spectacular. He put that boy to sleep. He put him into a coma for 100 years. That knockout was absolutely brutal. So he's going to carry that extra power. But if you notice in the fight, he was all off balance because he's top heavy, but his legs are like chicken's kneecaps. They're so skinny, so his legs can't support the weight, so he's always off balance. And one of the reasons why Spilker got caught was because he was laughing and got cocky with Deontay Wilder for how Wilder was fighting. Wilder was throwing punches and he was punching the canvas on 2 occasions because he's so off balance, because he's top heavy. So if that happens with Tyson Fury, all he's got to do is take a step back and step back in straight away, and he'll counterpunch Wilder. And Wilder, do not be surprised if Wilder hits the canvas in this fight. But Fury's going to have to be careful and be mindful of the fact that he may not have knocked him to the canvas because it was a real good punch and he's wobbled him and then going for the killing and end up getting caught himself, much like Joshua did with Ruiz. But it could be that he hit the canvas because he was off balance. Now, going down the stretch as well, that would tell me that neither Wilder or Fury are planning on going the distance in this fight. Now, if any of them are planning on going the distance, it's probably Tyson Fury, okay? Because Tyson Fury, he'll learn to slow it down and just use his shots wisely even. And Wilder, he'll just be looking for the knockout for all 12 rounds. And as we've seen before, he's as dangerous in round 12 as what he is in round number 1. But looking at it, with Fury, if he's packed on a little bit of muscle, that would suggest to me that he's going to hold his feet and go for the knockout. Wilder ain't great around the whiskers, so he could legitimately wobble Deontay Wilder and get him out of there. It could happen if he's playing smart, but he's always going to have to be switched on to the fact of what's coming back. Now, one concern that I may have in this one is Kenny Bayless being the referee, which is if the cut gets opened by Tyson Fury, because again, there's been rumours that the cut has actually reopened in camp, then if it starts bleeding, don't be surprised if Kenny Bayless stops the fight. If Fury ends up hitting the canvas, don't be surprised if Kenny Bayless ends up stopping the fight prematurely. Kenny Bayless, make sure I'm not doing a video talking about you in a negative light after this fight, and especially with the judges and that as well, if it does end up going 12 rounds. I'd rather not speak about the judges or the referee other than they did a good job. That's all I'm interested in doing, okay? But I think with the extra weight of Tyson Fury, maybe that may actually tire him out a little bit. But maybe if he doesn't come out of the blocks and try swinging for the fences with Wilder, then down the stretch, maybe Fury is going to have enough zip, enough power to get Deontay Wilder out there, which was my original prediction. I thought that Fury was going to stop Wilder a little bit later on in the fight, round 7, round 8. Now, anything can happen with Wilder. He can get comprehensively outboxed and still land that big punch. But with the extra weight, which is of course is the backbone of this video, it could help both fighters. It's going to make Wilder that more potent with a punch. Not that Wilder particularly needs it, but it's certainly going to help him, especially if he lands clean on Fury. Fury will go down and he may not get back up again. But with Tyson Fury, with that extra weight, especially if it's muscle, means that he's going to get Wilder's respect a whole lot more than what he did in the first fight. Because before, in the first fight, yes, he did rock Wilder a couple of times, and he did hurt him. I don't care what Wilder says. It wasn't enough for Wilder to be that much hesitant in it. Okay, so if he does manage to connect with Wilder on this one properly, then there's a very good chance that Wilder could resort to type, which is be a scared fighter. He looks like he's scared. But that's when opponents tend to get a little bit cocky, a little bit up themselves and think, you know what, this is really easy. Then bang, you're out cold. So Fury's going to have to be very, very mindful. But I think the extra weight for Tyson Fury, it may help him if it is muscle. If it's fat, then, as I said, I'm just going to go back to my worst fear when I first seen him stand on those scales. Of course, he's wearing a top, and a lot of people say, well, maybe he's carrying something, some extra weight. I don't think so. I mean, he may have legitimately drunk like 2 litres of water right before he stood on the scales, which would add like an extra 4.5 pounds. Maybe. Of course, that could happen. But I think that Fury, when he says he's going for the knockout, I think he actually means it. But as I said, there's nothing wrong with going for the knockout because Wilder isn't great around the whiskey and he can be stopped. I've always said that Wilder is a loss waiting to happen. Either a comprehensive points loss or he'll get starched. One of the two. But he's been riding that wave ever since he turned pro though. So there's got to be something to him, right? But Tyson Fury, he's going to have to be very, very smart with this one. And he may have to pace himself. If he comes out the blocks, that means he's literally going for the knockout. And I do believe while Fury can get Wilder out there early, I think that if anybody is going to get knocked out early, it's going to be Tyson Fury. Now, me as a Tyson Fury fan, like many of you guys, of course, if Tyson Fury loses and the tactics were wrong and whatever else, no problem, regroup, get him back in the rematch later on in the year. Okay, so we're still going to support him. We're not going to jump ship on Tyson Fury, okay? But Tyson Fury needs to put out a big, big statement. Go at him for like the first couple of rounds, but again, be very, very mindful because I do think that with Wilder putting on that extra weight, he's going for the knockout and he may be going for an early knockout as well. Don't be surprised if Wilder comes out of the blocks. But if either of these guys do, then Fury, he's going to have to learn to pace himself as the fight goes along and let Wilder swing for the fences. Let him be immobiled and to be hitting the canvas and that again, all off balance. Again, don't be surprised if Wilder is looking an absolute mess in that ring. But again, Fury's going to have to be very, very switched on and learn to when to counterpunch and when not to, which of course is where Sugar Hill and that comes into it. So anyway, I'm not too concerned about the weight. I was a little bit concerned when I first seen it, which is why I put out the community post, because I wanted to gauge what a lot of you guys were saying. And thank you very much for everyone who put down your comments on that, because it did make me feel a little bit more at ease, and now I've had a bit more time to think about it. It's not that it's not the weight that is really the problem. It's what kind of weight is it? Is it fat weight or is it muscle weight? That's going to be the telling factor in this fight, I think. And of course, how aggressive Fury's going to be. Simple as that, really, isn't it? Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.